In this tutorial, we're going to create a WordPress blog step by step from zero to something. This blog is for a fictitious family called The Woods. It's their lifestyle blog. I'm going to show you a demo of what the lifestyle blog is going to look like before we get started. My name is Bjorn Allpass for Theme Isle. If you like this kind of video, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos, and leave comments and questions down below the video so we can answer your comments and questions, and also like this video. We're getting started right now. This is the blog we're going to build. It's for a family called The Woods. It's a fictitious family used just for this example, and it's their lifestyle blog. We have on the home page a listing of all the blog posts with nice big images attracting people to click them. On the sidebar, we have a listing of our most popular posts based on views, number of views they get. We have a widget sharing our family photo and our family information. If you click on there, it takes us to the About page, which we're going to customize and build. We're going to build the header and customize it, 2-level header, by the way. Title at the top, menu down below. We have various sub-menus under these categories and topics. I'm going to show you how to create all of that. At the very bottom, we have our footer with our copyright information. I'm going to show you how to customize all that. If we go to one of these blog posts, let's take this one for example, and we scroll down to the bottom, I'm going to show you how to add the social sharing widgets and make sure your comments are enabled. And when you're all done, you're going to have a functioning blog, and all you have to do is add content at that point and generate traffic. And once you get traffic, add monetization options and make money from your blog if that's your goal, or just keep making more content and keep getting more traffic. But if you follow this video from front to back, you will have that blog that you want to build set up so you can start building your blog and generating traffic. This is the site we're starting with. It's a plain Jane vanilla WordPress install, nothing special going on. And I have this domain name here, withthewoods.com, because the website's called With the Woods, but it's not a real domain name. I'm developing this locally. If I were to buy a domain name for every single video, it would become very unaffordable very quickly. So I do this locally on my computer. So if you do end up trying to go to this live address, I don't even know what's there. It won't be the site I'm building right now, whatever it is. And if you don't have a domain name yet, a great place to go is a place called Domain Wheel, because even if you don't have a name for your site yet, you probably have an idea. If you wanted to create a lifestyle blog like we're doing in this video, you could even just type in the word lifestyle, hit search, and see what comes out. Now it's going to look for domain names that have the word lifestyle in them. And so you're going to get a lot of results, a lot of different endings, .net, .blog, .org, .com. You can refine that by choosing the endings you want. Maybe you want just .com, and maybe you want, let's talk about skiing. So let's say ski life. See what comes up. skifitlife.com, skimylife.com. Anyway, there's a bunch of ideas for domain names. You put in your main idea and you can sift through these results. These are actual available domain names you can buy right now. At the top, they have domain names that have your specific words in them. And down below, they have more brandable domain names that are somewhat related possibly, or just totally random. Looks like a lot of these are pretty random. And then you have more suggestions down below where you can use sounds like options or random suggestions. Then you click on them, and this one's ski lift, gives you a bunch of ski lift ideas, and you can hopefully find a domain name that you like. And once you have a domain name, you have to buy some hosting because your website has to live somewhere. A hosting account is basically a hard drive in the cloud where all your website files are stored. All the images, all the pages, all the information on your site lives on the hosting account, and it will be accessible via whatever domain name you choose. If you're following along this video but you don't have a domain name or hosting account yet, just click the link in the description down below. It will take you to SiteGround, which is where I host all my websites. And this is where you buy hosting, and you can buy domain names here as well. And so right now for our site, if this were a live site on the internet, like I said earlier, it's on my computer, but if it were live, this would be where we go to find it, withthewoods.com. And so let's get started building out this lifestyle blog. In the dashboard, we don't have very much going on. Our posts, we have none. We're going to add some in a little bit. Don't have any pages. Our theme right now is 2019. We're going to add a new theme in just a minute. Our plugins, don't have any. We're going to add some more of those as well. So let's start with our theme. Let's go to themes, go to add new. And one I really like using for a lot of different applications is called the Neve theme. Let's click on install and then activate. And now we have the Neve theme installed. I'm just going to delete the 2019 theme because we don't need to have themes that we're not using on the site. One of the great things about the Neve theme is you can import layouts that work with Elementor or with Gutenberg. You can find a lot of tutorials for that on this channel, so check those out. And if you have any questions along the way, make sure you leave a comment down below to ask those questions, and we'll try to answer them as best we can. Or even if you just want to say hi or say you like this video, leave a comment down below. So now we have a new theme installed. We're also going to install some plugins. Let's go to plugins and add new. We're going to look up Otterblocks, which is a great add-on for allowing you to do more with Gutenberg. Let's make that 2 words. This one right up here. It adds a lot of widgets for the Gutenberg editor, which makes it work a lot better and function a lot nicer. So install that, click on activate. I'm going to skip this intro. I'm going to add another plugin. This one is called Optimal. And this one allows you, or this one helps you with optimizing images. This is the one we want up here in the top left. Click on install now and then activate. Now we have to register an API key. If you don't have one yet, all you do is register for a free account by clicking on register. Just enter your email address and you get your API key, and you can enter it into the field you're going to see in just a second. If you already have an account, click I already have an API. You have to paste it in here. I'm going to find my API key in my Optimal account. So we're just logging in here. Here's my API key. I'm going to copy that and then paste it in here. Click on connect. So what Optimal does is it compresses images to make them smaller so they load faster, and therefore your site will load faster. And it also makes sure your images are the correct size for the space they're loading into. So if your image is 1,000 by 1,000 pixels, but the image displayed on your site is only 300 by 300 pixels, Optimal does not load the 1,000 by 1,000. It actually on the fly shrinks that 1,000 by 1,000 down to 300 by 300. So you have even more file size savings. That helps a lot with site speed and load time, because one of the #1 reasons websites are slow is the images. So the very first thing I want to do is create my menu system. Now, normally you have a menu system that links to pages, but in the case of most blogs, you have a menu system that links to categories because you want to have content in those categories listed. Whereas if you go to a business website, you're going to have a services page, a contact page, and about page. Blogs, you want to have your blog posts show up. So to do that, we go to posts and we add a category. The first category we're going to add is parenting. We can leave all the rest blanks, click on add new category. Now we have our parenting category over here. We're going to add travel, cooking, and work. Now we can also add subcategories below these, or these can be the parents of a category. And the reason you want to do this is for better blog organization. For example, we have these 4 main buckets of content we're going to create for our blog, but there are subtopics. Parenting is a huge topic. Each one of these is a huge topic. So under parenting, you could have, for example, activities, because you have to do activities with your kids. So we enter the name activities here. We choose parenting from the parent category and click on add new category. Now this is a subcategory of parenting. You might also have support, because maybe you have a 3-year-old who's very difficult and you need some support. So maybe this is content related to that kind of topic. Let's add that. And maybe morals, because you want to teach your kids some good morals, make sure they're raised properly. And maybe that's another subcategory of your blog. And this is your blog. So whatever subcategories you want to discuss on your blog, make sure you add those and make sure you have content to put in them. Don't just add categories for the sake of having categories. You want to make sure there's content in them. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose. And you can always add more as you go. You could start off with just parenting. And then as you develop more themes in your site and more subtopics, then you can add in activities, and then you can assign content you already created to the activities category. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. I'm going to add some more subcategories, also called child categories, to the other 2, just to make sure we have some categories to work with in this tutorial. I've added 3 child categories under each parent, and nothing too special. And again, you probably don't want to start off with this many on your blog unless you have a huge amount of content right on the first day. You can add these as you go, but it's coming to posts and categories, adding a new category, then you can create content for that category. And as you start adding content, you'll see this count number on the right-hand side increase. Right now they're all 0 because there's no content in any of them. But as you add posts to them, every post will increment this number up by 1. So you can see how much content you have in each category at a glance on this page. Now we're going to create some blog posts so we have something to see on the front end of the website. To do that, go to posts and then add new. Click on the X to close this. I'm going to call this post family trip to Europe. And I'm going to paste in what's called lorem ipsum text. I'm just going to get it from the internet. I'll show you where I get it. Just search for lorem ipsum. Go to this ellipsum.com. I'm going to type in 20 for the number of paragraphs. I'm just going to copy all this text, and it's basically Latin. And it doesn't say a lot, but it allows you to have some placeholder content for when you're developing these types of pages. So if you're making this for a client, you might have this lorem ipsum text to show where text goes. Or if you make demo videos like this is what you do. If you're creating your own blog post, you're obviously writing your own content, but I'm not going to write entire blog posts just for a demo tutorial because you get the idea. So now we have our title for the post and our text down below it. We have to add one more thing to make this a more or less workable blog post, and that is a featured image. On the right-hand side, under featured image, click on set featured image. Now we can drag and drop our image or images right here. So this is the family vacation photo right here that I'm going to add to the blog post, but I'm just going to add all of my images all at once. I'm going to drag and drop them in here. And I'm going to upload one by one. It's going to fast forward this part of the video. There we go. We have some nice images for our family blog. This is the one that's from our trip to Europe. So I'm going to click on that to select it. Click on select in the bottom right. And now it adds that image as our featured image in this box on the right-hand side. We can also add an excerpt. Some themes have this excerpt content that's displayed prominently in various places. I'm just going to copy the first paragraph, paste that in here. Under categories, I'm going to choose the category because these are the ones we created earlier to organize our blog. If we don't choose a category for a post, then we have no organization. So I'm going to look for our travel parent category. Under that, our Europe subcategory. I'm just going to select both of those and then click on publish and publish again. Now I can click on view post. Let's see how this looks. Here we have our nice looking post. Our first one. Pretty straightforward. We have our comment system already. It's default in WordPress having a comment system. So that's already functional. Now I'm going to add a few more blog posts so we have some more to work with. And then we're going to start building out the header, the footer, and the sidebar, which are the most important components of any blog. Aside from the actual content, the three most important places are the header, the footer, the sidebar, because those are throughout the entire site. You want to make sure they look great and work properly. So I'm just going to pause this video, add some more blog posts, and I'll be back in just a minute. So now we have 4 posts in total: family work time, family dinner time, family hike, and family trip to Europe. And all of these have the same structure. There's the lorem ipsum text, a featured image. I picked the categories to make sure our blog will be organized. You can see the categories in this column here. And that's it for what we did for these posts. Now that we have our categories in place and content inside those categories, we can start building out the header of our site. If I go to Appearance and then Customize, we come to the Customizer. This is where a lot of themes, the Neve theme included, provides a lot of options for customizing how your site looks and how it works. So right off the bat, you can see our blog posts listed here because by default, WordPress lists our blogs on the home page. So we see them here. Here's our first one: family work time, family dinner time, family hike, and family trip to Europe. And the text that you see on the page under each one, that is the excerpt that we added. And they're different lengths because I just wanted to have some variation in how long they were. And these are the summaries of our blog posts. If you click on these, we'll see the actual blog post in full. I'm not going to click on it now because the customizer doesn't have an easy way to get back to this page. Yeah, I could click on them and see it, but then I couldn't get back without exiting the customizer first and coming back in. So I'm just going to save it showing you the full blog post for later on in the video. But we want to work on the header at the top. So to get started, we're going to click on header right here. And we're going to choose logo and site identity. And I'm going to change the site title, which is the title of the website, to With the Woods. The idea is the fictional family's last name is Woods, and With the Woods is kind of your doing things with the woods is the concept of the blog. I'm not going to have a tagline, but I'm going to keep the title. And down below here, we have a header builder. I'm going to drag and drop the site identity into the top section. That puts it in a separate row from where the menu is going to be. You can see this little search icon. This is where the menu will be. And then this With the Woods is above, a little bit higher. I'm going to stretch out this section. And I'm going to choose under Layout, Centered. So With the Woods is centered in the middle. And we're going to adjust the size of With the Woods using some custom CSS in just a minute. It's going to be copy and paste. You can just copy and paste it where I show you, and you'll have an adjusted size for the text. The menu, let's click on primary menu here. I'm going to keep the search function there because it's handy for people to search blogs. Click on primary menu down below here. Under primary menu, we currently have nothing at all. If you click the drop down, there's nothing there. We will click on create new menu. going to give it a name. I'm going to call this main menu. Click on next. And before I click next, we could choose where the menu was going to go. By default, it had primary menu selected because that's where I clicked the create menu button. But you can choose other locations for the menu to appear. These are built into the theme. So if you don't use the Neve theme, you'll see other options listed here more than likely. I'm going to keep mine as primary menu. I'm going to click on add items. I'm going to choose categories because we want our categories to appear in here. I'm going to click on parenting, travel, cooking, and work, because those are the main categories on this site. If you want to get extra fancy, you can have your child categories as drop downs when they hover over the main category. So over here on the right, we see that our main category links. If we hover over them, nothing happens besides they change color. You can click on them and see the content within that category. We can also have drop down menus. So under parenting, we had, let's see, activities, support, and morals as our 3 child categories under parenting. If you click on those here, they're added to the menu over here. Then we can drag and drop them and make sure they're indented a little bit and put them under parenting. And now we have this little down arrow added beside parenting. When we hover over it, we have our other options. So people can see at a glance all the different topics that you cover on your site. So I'm going to add the child categories to the other 3 menu items as well. It's going to fast forward while I do that. Okay, now we have all our menu items. I just made them alphabetical order. You can make them whatever order you want just by dragging and dropping. And we have them now below all of our menu options over here. I'm going to click on back because we have our menu created. Now these are all clickable links as well. So on the live front end of the site, people can actually click on these and go to specific places. But before that works, you have to click on publish. And that saves our changes. We come back out here and refresh. Our site looks drastically different now because we've done some work. Under parenting, I believe activities has a blog post. Not all these have blog posts yet, I only have 4 posts for the 4 main categories and 1 child category. So under parenting activities, we have the family hike. Under travel and Europe, we have this post. If you have more posts, it will list more under these categories. And if you click on any one of these, it takes you to the full post. Like I was saying earlier, we see the full post, our comments down below. And now for all intents and purposes, we have a live functioning blog that you can add content to and start getting social traffic, start getting search engine traffic. Doesn't look pretty yet. We're going to make it a lot prettier, but you could get started right now with what you have. Let's go back in the customizer. Let's make it better. Let's go to header again. My primary menu I want to have centered. So I'm going to go to layout and center it. And now it's clearly not in the center. That's because we have to drag and drop this section down here, make it a bit bigger. And now it's in the center. And I want to add just a bit of CSS to make with the woods more prominent, because that's the title of our site. I want to make it quite large. To add custom CSS, go back to the top level, click on additional CSS, so we can just paste it right into here. And all the CSS that I wrote for this video can be found in the description down below. We can just copy and paste it from there. I'm going to paste in this piece of code right here. And you saw what that just did. Instantly, it made our headline bigger. See it again, take it out, back to small. Paste it in, big, that quick. I want to also have this background white up here. I don't want to have this light gray. And there we go, it's white. And CSS, if you get over the fact that it's somewhat coding, it's not really coding, but it can be a little intimidating. But when you read the words in CSS, it actually starts to make a lot of sense. For example, .brand is what we use to select the actual text up here. That's the hardest part, finding how to select the thing you want to apply styles to or apply design to. Then the command is font size. That makes sense. What do you think font size does? Well, it changes the font size. And M's are a special type of unit that you'd have to learn. I'm not going to teach it to you here. I'm just trying to make you a little more comfortable with CSS, not be too afraid of it, because it is pretty straightforward. Font size changes the font size. The other one, again, the hard part is finding the correct selector to select the area you want to apply something to. And the rules are pretty straightforward. This rule right here is background color. Well, what do you think that does? It changes the background color. And with CSS, I have a hex code here. You can actually just type in the word red or white. And you can have color changes based on words. that's more limited. I think there's 240 options for the words, but if you use the hex code, there are a lot more. I want to say a million. That can't be right. I don't know exactly how many, but with the hex code, there's a whole lot more options than if you use the words. Point is, CSS is not that scary, so I'm sure you can copy and paste. I'm just going to quickly add what's called a comment up above so we know what these styles are for. So now we know everything below this comment. Comment is something that only we can read. These two special characters at the front and these two at the back make it so that CSS does not execute whatever's in between them. So we can read it, so we can have some more information about what we're trying to do. So after this come the header styles, which are these two. And for each bit of CSS we add, we're going to have more styles. We're going to keep them organized. I'm going to click on Publish, just to make sure that's saved. And now we're going to work on the sidebar. If we go back to the top level here and go to Widgets, then Sidebar, here are the widgets listed out that are on the right-hand side for the sidebar. So we have Search First, Recent Posts, Recent Comments, Archives, Categories, Meta. These are all built into WordPress. There's a lot more that are built right into WordPress, but most of them are not that pretty. Let's see. We're going to add an image. So let's add an image. Let's make that image our fearless leader, Emily Woods. I'm going to say we are the Woods family. That's just the mom and two of the kids. And she looks a little different than this mom, but that's okay. I'm going to move this to the top. And now we have our nice little image. You often see these for lifestyle blogs and personal blogs, an image of the person who's creating the blog. If we click on the image on the left-hand side, we can add a caption. I'm just going to copy and paste in here. We're the Woods and welcome to our blog. Here, my husband and I share the wonderful adventures we have with our kids. I hope that you have as much fun reading about our adventures as we do having them. Nice little caption. Plop, that goes right down below the image. Nice and clean. We're going to add some CSS to make this more framed in and look a little more finished. Do that in a little bit. And we are going to remove all the other, I'm going to keep the search bar actually. Move the search bar to the top. Keep that. We're going to use a different widget to do recent posts because this does not look very nice. I want to have one with thumbnail images and make it a whole lot prettier. And in fact, it won't be recent posts. We're going to make it popular posts. So the posts that are viewed the most on our site are the ones that are going to show up on the sidebar, because the most important thing you can do for building traffic on your site is keeping people on your site and keeping them liking your content. That's why I want to show popular posts, because those are the most popular posts that people want to read. So hopefully when a new visitor comes, they've never seen your blog before, but hopefully they'll be attracted by one of those popular posts and they'll get deeper and deeper into your site and keep on reading more and more content, which sends great signals to search engines that your content is valuable. So I'm going to click on delete or remove to remove that. I'm going to remove recent comments, remove the archives, remove the categories, and remove the meta. I have a really nice slimmed down sidebar here. And we're going to exit the customizer to add the popular posts widget, which is a plugin that we have to install. I'm going to click on publish to make sure we saved our work. Click on the X to exit. Go to plugins and then add new. I'm going to look up WordPress popular posts. There are quite a number of plugins that do this. The one I like to use is this one right here. It's got a lot of installs, a lot of great reviews. I'm going to click on install now and then activate, and then go back into the customizer under appearance and customize, go to widgets, go to sidebar, click on add a widget. Now we're going to have a new one in here at the very bottom called WordPress popular posts. So I'm just going to click on that one. And here it is right here. So when we first install it on a brand new site, it's going to show, sorry, no data so far instead of blog posts. We're going to fudge that in just a minute by visiting our blog posts and making them more popular. Before we do that, we can set some settings. I'm going to show 5 posts. I don't want to show too many of them. You can choose to show them by total views, average daily views, or comments. So you can choose how you want to rank a post as being popular. I'm going to keep it at total views. Time range, I'm going to have it all time. Post types, here we can have the post types. Which if you're brand new to WordPress, don't worry about this. Just keep it as post. Don't change any of these actually if you're brand new to WordPress. Under post settings, I'm going to not check short and title. You can choose to display the excerpt. This is the excerpt here, which I think is way too much text to have in the sidebar. So I'm just going to have the title, which is there by default. I'm going to add a thumbnail, which is a nice image. Images often attract more clicks from people. I'm going to display the author, the date, and the taxonomy, which means the category. And then I'm going to click on publish again. And now let's head out here and see if we can visit our posts a bunch of times and fudge our stats, as it were. Now we have some of our posts appearing on the right-hand side here. Not quite how I want them to appear, but at least we have something there, something to work with. So let's go back into the customizer. And what I'd like to see is have this thumbnail be way bigger. Have the thumbnail be the entire width of the sidebar, like we have our family picture up here, and then have the content down below it. So we can change the size of our thumbnail on the left-hand side here. We can use a predefined size or set the size manually. Right now it's on the set the size manually option. You can change it to use predefined and see if those sizes work better. See if medium works. Medium works quite well, I think. It's probably bigger than the area. For example, if we choose large, it's not going to get any bigger because the sidebar is constrained to a certain width. So I think the 300 by 300 works just fine. And now we have our blog posts here. They don't look quite finished in my opinion. It's kind of just lumped in there. Doesn't look very nice, very appealing. So we're going to fix that using some CSS again, which you can copy and paste. But first we're going to add a title up above these images or the most popular posts. I'm going to call this most popular. That's going to be our title. Seems like a pretty good one. I'm going to click on publish. And I'm going to copy and paste some CSS that I've already written that you can copy and paste and get it from the description down below this video. Paste it right in here, and we're going to use that to level up our popular post area and our sidebar in general. It's going to apply to the whole sidebar. And the CSS we're going to copy and paste is right here. Paste that in. And we see we have everything framed inside a nice border now. There's some padding between the edge. We've changed the colors of these links in here. And the border also applied to our blog listing area on the left here. It's going to paste another piece of CSS that will change the spacing so that we're not touching the outermost edge right here. Paste that in down below. Now we have a little more space. Looks much more finished. And I want to change the background color for the main part of the website because all this white is a lot of white. I'm going to add a light gray color for this main content area. Let's go to colors and background. For the background color, this applies to all the pages on the site, it's currently white. I'm going to choose a light gray, something like this. I think that looks very classy with our borders and our white area for our widgets. I think that looks very nice. So I'm going to keep it as that color. Click on publish. Now we have a fairly nicely designed, clean, professional looking layout for our lifestyle blog. There's some more stuff we want to add though. We want to do the footer, so it's not Neve and WordPress down at the bottom. It's got to be our own information. And I also want to add some social sharing widgets. And I want to make sure that our blog posts are displaying how we want them to. So I'm going to click into one of these blog posts. And it's not working quite right because we have the borders that are applied to everything and the background applied to everything is applied to the posts as well, but it doesn't look quite right. It goes right to the top below the menu system. There's no gap there. I like to see a little gap and it just doesn't look great. So I'm going to add another piece of CSS. Again, the CSS is all below this video. Just copy and paste it right in there. Now we have a little more spacing. The images stretch right across. That's great. I also want to change where this text appears. So the title and the author name, the date, I want that below the image. Neve makes this very easy. If we go back to the front area or the top area, go to layout and then single post, we can drag and drop where information appears. So title and meta right now is appearing above the image. I want it to be below it. Just going to drag and drop that down. It updates, the image goes right to the top, and our content is down below. So that's awesome. If you don't want stuff to appear, if you don't want tags to appear, for example, you can hide them. If you don't want comments, you can hide those. Scroll down to the bottom, we see our comments widget is gone. But I always recommend keeping comments on for blogs because you want to increase community engagement. There's no better way to do that than on a blog. And I again see a few spacing issues. The text is right to the edge here. The comments section right to the edges. I'm going to add a little CSS to fix that. So let's go back to our additional CSS. So to keep things organized, we want to have the CSS inside this post area as well. CSS is down below again. Paste that in. Boom. Much better spacing. And I'm doing the CSS piecemeal so you can see where it's being applied and where it's being added. You can, of course, just come in and copy the whole thing and paste the whole block of CSS into your additional CSS section. Don't have to do a piecemeal like I'm doing. So now we have, I think, a pretty great looking little blog going on here. With the Neve theme, we also have the ability to customize how this blog list displays. Right now, it's these big, beautiful images, title, meta description, and excerpt down below. If we head over to layout and blog, just like we saw for the single post, we can rearrange where things appear. So thumbnails first, we could have the title be first. We just drag and drop and move it around. Maybe the excerpt should be first. Maybe that wouldn't make any sense. So let's move the title back in the middle, the thumbnail back at the top. We can also rearrange the order of the data that we see here. This is called the metadata. We can have the author. We can turn the category on, entrepreneurship and work. We keep that in there or turn it off, whatever you want. And the comments will show the number of comments. It won't show the actual comments here, just the number of them. Currently, there are no comments, so it doesn't show anything. And we can change how many of these blog summaries we display in a certain area. There's some images up here that we can click on and change our layout quite easily. So there's this layout. This one doesn't look as good because if you have various sizes of excerpt, it makes this image not that nice. It looks like if we had this one on 2 sentences, this image would fit right into this area. That would be quite nice. So maybe you could limit your excerpts to just 2 sentences and then have this type of design possibly. You can also choose this option, which alternates the image sides. I prefer this grid layout. You can have multiple columns if you want. Let's make 3 columns. We have a 3-column grid. This again needs shorter excerpts, otherwise it's funny, or at least excerpts that are the same length. Let's see if 2 columns works. 2 columns is okay. And we can also enable masonry, which will collapse this white area. By checking this box, we now have our masonry layout. So it's not an even layout size, not an even grid size. It changes the layout based on the height of the summary cards. I like masonry quite a lot, so I would have that on if I was going to display the blog posts in this way. But I personally prefer the big blog posts, 1 column. I like in the sidebar we have the smaller options, but for the main blog post area, I much prefer these bigger options. And if we click into the categories, because these menu options are categories, what we design here also applies. So if we have a blog layout like this, it applies to the category as well. So keep that in mind when you're using categories for your navigation. But we do want to have a social sharing ability. So we want to have, for example, widgets right here at the top or at the very bottom or in the sidebar or in all those places where people can click them and share your blog post or share your blog in general. So we're going to add another plugin for that. I'm going to publish first, then click on the X to exit the customizer. I'm going to go to Add New under Plugins and look up Shareaholic. And just like the popular post, there are a lot of plugins that will enable social sharing on your site. I like the Shareaholic plugin. It has a lot of great features. We're going to see some of them in just a minute. So I'm going to use this one, but feel free to try any of the others that you find or have recommended to you and see if those work better. I'm going to click on Install Now and then Activate. And now we have this Get Started button here. Click on that. And we're going to get started with Shareaholic. There are a lot of options. I'm just going to click on Next and not actually answer any of these questions. There are a lot of options in here that allow you to do a lot of stuff with your site all in one plugin. So it's a great little plugin. We're just going to use a few of them for our social sharing and actually for our recommended content that we're going to have below our posts. So for social sharing, let's go to Social and Share buttons right here. Click on Show for More. And this is all the places where share buttons can appear on your site. I'm going to turn all of them off. I'm just going to turn on the ones we want. So we have Post below Content. That makes sense. It's below the post content. On a page below the content, we don't have any pages currently on the site. We only have posts. Index, that's the home page below the content. Categories below the content. Post above the content. Page above, home page above, category above. And we can also create our own custom one by clicking on this button right here. So I'm going to use Post above content. I'm going to turn that on. I'm going to click on Settings so we can see how this thing looks. This is a preview how the widget will appear on your site. And we can choose our theme. I'm going to choose flat circle. You can change a position to block or wrap. That means if you have text that goes around the social sharing, so you have this in the middle of a page, the text will wrap around it. If you have block, it will have its own line. Layout, you can have horizontal or vertical. You can change the size. I'm going to keep mine as this. You can have the counters on or off and change how they display. I like this one right here. You can center them, right align them, left align them. You can show more button options or not. That's the little green one right here where people can click and see more options. I'll show you that in a minute. We can change the headline text, sharing is caring. We can change the font family if we want to. I'm going to keep all these things as they are, just showing which ones to change where. And you can select which services you want to appear using this option down here. Right now, the ones that are grayed out are the ones that are shown. Email, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Maybe we want to have Reddit as well. So we click on that, it adds Reddit. And then on the bottom right, click on Save Changes. And we can choose some analytics options. These are fairly advanced, adding events and tracking campaigns into Google Analytics. Not going to get into that in this video. General settings, also fairly advanced, not required. What we actually require is the code. This top one is PHP for putting it into a template file. The bottom one is just regular HTML code that we can put into a sidebar widget. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to go back into Appearance and Customize. And underneath Emily over here, the Woods family, I'm going to add another widget. Go to Sidebar, add a widget, custom HTML, put that below the image and paste in our social sharing. And there they are, sharing is caring. Click on Publish, let's refresh. When we refresh this page, we should have two social sharing widgets appear. One under the image over here and one under the content or at the top of the content under the post. We also should have some design changes. So let's refresh this page. Here we have our social sharing on the left and the one above the content is not there. Let's see what went wrong. Let's exit back out of the customizer, go to social, show for more, post above content. Should be there. Let's try switching it to below the post content. That might actually be a better spot because people have read the content and they'll know if they want to share it or not. So let's see if that one worked. That works much better. When you go to blogs, it's usually half and half, where you see the social sharing above or below. It's usually one of the two, and it's quite common in both. And the green more icon, I told you I click on that and show you what that looks like. And that just adds or shows more options for people to share. There are a lot of sharing options in Shareaholic, which is nice. And what I also want to have is at the bottom of a post, I want to have related content. So when you get to the bottom, you like this post, and down here there's going to be a widget that says, hey, you like this? Here's some other stuff you could read. And that's in Shareaholic as well. Go to the Engage tab, and below post content, we're going to add the related content or products. Come back out here, refresh, and we only have 3 posts, so it only shows 3. Normally it's a stretch right across the area and have 4. And if you have more, I believe it goes 2 levels, so it'd be 4 and 4. You can change those settings inside of the Shareaholic plugin. If we go back to our Engage tab, click on Settings for the below content option, and you can change the design like we had earlier. Here's a preview on the right-hand side. Change mine to a different one. I like the card design because this kind of fits a little more with our cards in the sidebar. You can change the headline. You may also like. We can change our, let's save that first. In the content pool tab, you can change which content is shown in this area. So maybe you want to show all the most popular posts or posts from a specific category. You can actually create a different one of these related post objects for each category. So if you go to here, new in-page app, you can have one for the travel category, for the food category, work, and what's the other one? Parenting category. And you can have, like I said, a different one for each category. So if someone's reading a topic on parenting, that's likely a topic they're into at that moment, and then you can just recommend other parenting articles. Let's go back into settings. We can also add monetization options. So once you're getting traffic, you can monetize, i.e. make money using these kind of apps. And that's something you want to get into when you have substantial traffic because that's ad revenue, which is not a great way to generate revenue. And so you need lots of visitors to make that worth your while. So if you have anything less than 1,000 or 5,000 visitors a month, it's probably not worth your while turning on monetization. And so now let's head back out to our site here. We just have to work on the footer. Let's go back to Customize, Appearance, and Customize. Let's go to Footer. Let's scroll right down to the bottom so we can see what we're working on. This guy right here. So we can click on the copyright button here, or the copyright box, or click on it up here, goes to the same place, and we can add in our own content. Just going to type in here with the woods, and then ampersand copy semicolon 2019. And this ampersand copy semicolon, that's HTML for a little copyright symbol, which we see right there. And this is literally all you need for a footer, just to show there's a copyright on the information. But I'm going to add a footer menu as well. So I'm just going to make this half the width approximately, drag and drop the footer menu in there. And our footer menu is on existing right now. So we're going to click on footer menu, click on footer menu here, click on create new menu. The menu location is footer menu auto selected. I'm going to click on add items. And down in the footer, you can add, there's a lot of things that make sense in the footer. You could have the About Us page. You could have privacy page, terms of service. Most blogs don't really have a contact page unless they're bigger, but you can have a contact page, no problem. You can drag and drop these to reorder them, and we see them displaying in the bottom right over here. We can change these colors by clicking on this pencil, going to layout. I'm going to center it. I'm going to right align it so it's on the far right side of our container. I'm going to go to style. I'm going to choose the item color, change it to, let's see, light gray. And then when they hover, which is going to be this option right here, it's going to be white. So we can see a slight change in color. I think that's pretty nice. And I'm just going to have this option selected for the skin mode. You can change to a different one and see how it looks. They're pretty fancy. But for the footer, I don't want to do anything too fancy. Just going to keep the normal one. And I'm going to align with the woods to the left under general layout. So it's on the left-hand side. Menu's on the right-hand side. And now we have a nice little footer menu. I'm going to click on Publish to save our changes. Then we're going to exit the customizer and take a look at those pages. Because when we created that menu, it created pages for us. So if we go to Pages, we have the pages right here. Under the About Us page, it's a pretty important page. It's about the family and about you, about your blog. We want to have a little bit of content here. For example, we can add a new block. Let's add a section. This is from that Otter block plugin we installed earlier. It allows us to create sections inside of this builder, which is quite handy. I'm going to have a full width section. I'm going to click on this plus, and I'm going to add an image. I'm going to choose Media Library. I'm going to choose Emily. And here we have Emily. I'm going to click on Edit. I'm going to delete the title and the caption because those were pulled in as well. And I'm going to center the image. And down below it, I'm going to add some text. Copy in the text that we had in the sidebar, which is this piece right here. And then below that, I'll just paste the lorem ipsum text again. Most about pages wouldn't be this long, but there you have it. It's pretty long. Click on Update. I'm going to click right here to view the page. Here's a nice about page. And I think there should be a link from this image to this page. To do that, I'm going to copy the URL up here, go into Appearance and then Customize. We're going to click on the pencil beside this image. That takes us to the sidebar editor, the image widget, link to, paste in that URL we copied, click on Publish. Now if I come out here, let's say we go to Activities. Now the image in this sidebar widget is clickable and it takes us to the About page. It's that simple. So now we have the About Us page developed. Now we just need to create the privacy page, contact page, services page. Let's click on Exit to exit the customizer. Go back into Pages, All Pages, and we have our contact page here. Most contact pages have a form of some kind. To get a form, we have to add another plugin. Go to Plugins, then Add New, and let's look up WP Forms. It's a very popular form builder. It's this one up here in the top left. Click on Install Now, then Activate. Now we're taken to the form builder. Once it's activated, click on Create Your First Form. Let's choose a simple contact form, and it's already created for us. We have name, first name, last name, email, and comment or message. That's really all you need for a form. Click on Save. And now I'm going to exit out of here. If we go to Pages, All Pages, have our contact page here, click on Edit. I'm going to write in here, drop us a line, and click on this plus icon, and look up WP Forms. They have a nice widget that's added to Gutenberg. Click on that. We select our form. Simple contact form is one we want. And now we get an error in here, but I'm willing to bet if we go to the main site, it's going to work just fine. Go to View Page. There's our contact form. And now people can fill that out and email us. And this is live out of the box. Like as soon as this is filled out and somebody clicks submit, it's sent to you. But it's sent to a specific email address. And by default, that email address is located under settings and general. And it's this one right here. Whatever email address is in here, that's where that form will be sent to by default. But if you want to change that, you can go to WP Forms, go to All Forms, click on Edit for a simple contact form. Click on Settings on the left. Under General, we have some things we can change. The question marks give a lot more information, explaining what it is. Notifications are the emails that are sent. So the admin email shown in this field is the email address I just showed you under General Settings. So you can change this to whatever you want, or you can add others. You can add another email just by typing it in here. So it could be bjorn@bjorn.com. That's going to be sent to both of those emails. And this information down below is also sent with the email. The subject line is going to be the same for every email that's sent. You can also have it be dynamic. So you could have, for example, new email from, show smart tags, so we can get information from the form itself. So new email from, field ID equals 0, that's the name field. If we go back to our fields, click on the name field, we see it has an ID of 0. And that is the same as the ID of 0 here. This will say name from whoever filled out the form. Then you can customize all the form fields in here. And then the confirmation message is what the person who fills out the form will see after they submit the form. By default, it's the message saying, thanks for contacting us. We'll be in touch with you shortly. You can redirect to a specific page on your site, maybe a thank you page that you create. You can also redirect to a different website by pasting the URL right in here. Don't use this URL because it's the about page, but this could go to any website on the internet. I'm just going to keep it as a message. Click on save, and now we have our nice contact form. Let's refresh this again, make sure it's the latest version. So now if we click on contact, let's click on about us to go somewhere else first. There's the about page, go down to the bottom, click on contact, goes to the contact page. Nice and easy. And for our privacy policy, these pages are usually just text. Privacy, terms of service. I'm going to copy the lorem ipsum again, just so we have something here. Paste it in there, update. Go to all pages again, terms of service, edit that one. Paste that in, update. Come back out to the site, click on privacy policy, for example. We have our privacy laid out right there, and our terms of service laid out on this page. And now we have a fully functioning blog. All the components will work as we set them up, and your job once this blog is set up and developed is to create more content. That's your only job at the beginning. Later on, once you have traffic and engagement and interest in your brand and your blog, you have other jobs. You want to have a mailing list that you have to develop. You want to monetize your blog. You want to do one-on-one coaching maybe with your clients or with people who are interested, who visit your blog. Anyway, there's a lot more work that happens as you get more traffic, but at the beginning, your only job is create the blog like we did here and create the content. At the beginning, you can start thinking of the other steps, but you don't have to implement them all right away. For example, your mailing list, you don't have to start on day one, but you do want to start it fairly early because you want to create a mailing list to send content to those people. Every time you publish a new post, you want an email to be sent to your mailing list. They come and read the post, shows good signals to search engines that people like your content. It shows the people you're creating new valuable content and keeps them engaged. And you can start doing that with as little as 10 people a day or even one visitor a day. But I'll tell you something, getting to that one visitor per day requires content. So you need to do that first and then worry about the rest as you go. If you have any questions at all, please make sure you leave a comment down below and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. So that's how we build a WordPress blog step by step. This might not be the exact design you're looking for, but with the knowledge you gain from this tutorial, you can definitely go out and create the design that you want. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. And then check out this playlist up here, which is a whole list of site rebuild tutorials on this channel where we rebuild all kinds of different websites and create them from scratch. So if you like this kind of topic, make sure you check out that playlist. This video down here is the one that YouTube thinks you should watch. And until next time, my name is Bjorn Allpass for ThemeMile. Keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.